No, we've gone.
But when do we start?
We've started now.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready now.
We
I'm
had
ready to
so
start.
many people waiting for us. I didn't
I'm,
want to disappoint them.
How many people are waiting for us?
Okay. Well, there was 2. We have no viewers right now.
No witnesses. Can I get a witness? Nope.
I played that song last week. All right. Hello and welcome to Handgun Radio. I'm your host, Ryan Machad from the wild woods of central Maine, and this is your home for all the news, information, and discussion of the handgunning world. This week we talk winter handgunning. So as always, Handgun Radio is brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network. And please check out the Patriot Patch Company for their awesome patches and other high-quality items. Visit patriotpatch.co for more information. And as always, every time you get a Patch of the Month delivery, you get the cool artist-proof renditions that come along with the latest Patch of the Month patches. So be sure to join the Patch of the Month Club. Check out all the T-shirts, cleaning mats, and everything else they have on the website, patriotpatch.co. As always, shop Amazon using our affiliate link, firearmsradio.tv/Amazon. And please help support Handgun Radio. Head over to firearmsradio.tv/pledge and click on HGR. There are a bunch of different pledge levels over there, and we really appreciate it. So, Weird, how you doing?
I'm doing just fine, Ryan. How are you doing?
I was going to say, please tell me you didn't leave me.
I was looking for something, and I can't find it.
So what did you do this week?
I went shooting.
And did you solve your problems from last week?
I did. I sent you a text message. That was totally a leading question. I said that I was pulling some shots, and I'm like, what is going on here? I'm pulling shots with my 1911. There's no way that's anything but like me just totally doing something just lousy with the trigger pull. So I just said, you know what? I haven't been doing dry fire as much as I was ages ago. So yeah, just started dry firing this M&P 45, and nope. The groups were like, I started off at the 15-foot backstop. I was at the same range that we were shooting the handguns at. It's actually in the photograph I'm looking at right now. That's in the picture of the video. Started off at the 15-foot one and was just like, all right, I'm going to ruin the target. So I moved it back to the 25-foot hanger just to make things a little fair. But you know what? I got a question. I got a very serious question. Smith & Wesson made a big deal when they brought out the M&P 2.0 that they quote unquote fix the problem of the slide slamming forward when you shove a fresh mag into a gun with the slide locked back. Why is that a problem? Like this M&P, every time I slam a mag home on that gun, the slide goes forward, it chambers around, it's ready to go. I call that awesome.
I don't know. Maybe they just feel like they really, really want you to be able to control that yourself. I mean, me personally, I'd be like, that's cool. I mean,
yeah.
Normally when the slide's locked, I don't know. Maybe it's just like a safety thing where they feel like you want to be in control of every single operation that happens.
If I really run that mag home with gusto, it's not every time, but if I have a particularly snappy mag change, like the slide goes forward and it chambers around. Like I've never had a gun mouth that way. I've never had stick a magazine into the gun and have it mouth. I have had guns mouth, stick a magazine into the gun, hit the slide release or pull the slide back and have it mouth. But I've never had a slam the mag home and had the gun mouth. So I really don't get it. Like why don't they make all guns that way?
It's probably just because it's not something they've designed into the actual like operation of the gun, so it's an anomaly to them because they're looking at parameters and how the gun functions.
Yeah. Well, either way, put a bunch more rounds to the M&P 45. Oh, by the way, the dry fire practice. All right, again, still lousy trigger. M&P's lousy trigger. Like unless you shell out the money for an Apex, you're not gonna have a good trigger on the gun. But like, so I bought the gun used. So it had the from the factory crappy trigger tamed out quite nicely. But now the extra dry fire work that I've been doing on this gun, remarkable improvement. So yeah, like I had a good time. And also I brought along my 617, of course. I've got to. Like it's just like every range trip. I don't even need to say it. Also packed up the CZ82. I love that gun. Have you actually shot one?
No, I haven't. I wish you would have told me you had one because I didn't know you had one. You didn't even show it to me.
We pulled out the P64. It sits right next to it. It's on the 9mm Macaron shelf.
The only person I've ever seen that I knew that had a CZ82 was TJ.
You know I have a CZ82. I've told you all about it because I've told you it's CNR eligible.
You did not show it. I know you told me about it, but when I was down there, you didn't show it to me. We looked at the P64, and I think we were just so shocked at how terrible it was.
Yeah.
But, and then we looked at the CZ52 that you have.
Yes. Yes, that gun is interesting. Have you shot one of those?
I have not either. I've only shot the talker
that one to
the
range?
M57.
I got like a couple of boxes of that ammo left over.
I'll tell you what I do want. Have you seen the video that Ian did of the Smith & Wesson M76?
Yes.
I want that just because of Pelham 123, the original.
Oh yeah, was that a Smith & Wesson or was that a Carl Gustav?
No, it was a Smith & Wesson. They were all M76s in the movies.
Nice.
He shot that thing and it was surprisingly actually awesome.
Yeah, that was what he was saying. It's hard to tell with those, like especially like he didn't comment on how kludgy that gun looks. Like those welds are just like so awful looking. Like the sights, how the sights are set up, like it is a super kludgy looking gun. But just because it looks kludgy, I mean, the Uzi is like a super duper kludgy gun. Like that gun is entirely designed on how awesome a gun can we make without really trying.
I don't know. I kind of feel like that M76 is a little bit sexier than the Uzi.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say, I have a certain thing against any submachine gun that doesn't have a telescoping bolt, where like if the magazine is like a furlong ahead of the trigger guard, I'm just like, does it need to be like that?
It's not their fault you have short arms.
I don't have short arms. I just don't like to see all that like dead space where they could be holding barrel.
So what do you think about the new Rugers and blued steel?
I really like it. So now is that I didn't get a chance to read it all the way through. Is that a is that a carbon steel?
From what I understand, yes.
So it's probably going to be a little bit lighter because that's one thing that I don't think it's talked about too much. Like I kind of wish that that car for for their pistols, all the car uppers are all stainless steel. I kind of wish that they would make them in carbon steel and then put like a melanite finish or something on it to keep it so they don't rust on you. But because it would drop, it probably would shave like an ounce or two off because stainless steel is heavy.
Hold on, let's see here. So it's 357 Magnum model. All right.
Yeah, because it's not one of those like special edition ones that only chamber in 38 special because it's like South American police force won't let you issue 357.
It seems that both of them are 26 ounces.
Okay.
That's what Ruger lists the SP-101 and blued steel at.
I wonder if they did or if they just copied it over.
They may have. I mean, that's what I would have done.
I mean, it also depends on what the alloy is, but as a general rule, like you can definitely shave a few ounces off of a gun by being carbon steel instead of stainless.
The grips look nice too.
Yeah.
Yeah, overall it looks like a nice gun. I mean, I've seen some like tallow exclusives they've done with a DLC type coating. Makes it real slick and everything, but I haven't really ever seen them do anything with blued steel. So it's kind of a nice addition.
Well, we can always say, you should know for all your time at Julia Auction House, you can't take a picture of blued steel and have it do the gun any justice. So I really like to see it in person just to see how it looks. It looks really nice. It looks like a really nice, like satiny blue.
It'd be nice if they did like a super polished version just for the hell of it.
Yeah. Though I would kind of want a GP 100 for that. Like that's, I don't know, the little subcompact, like done all up to the nine seems like a little bit of a waste.
You and your freaking GP 100.
What? I like the GP 100.
Of course you do.
I like full size revolvers. Like I like compact revolvers, but I consider those like workhorses. But the full size ones, like that is a gun designed for a barbecue holster, especially something like the GP 100. Is you're not going to conceal that unless you're 6'4" and weigh 400 pounds.
That is something. Ist. Let's not be judging people who are 6'4" and weigh 400 pounds, please. Thank you.
I'm not judging them. I'm envious of them. I wish I was 6'4" and weighed 400 pounds.
So we were kind of like going back and forth about
wait, no, excuse me. I am 6'4" and I weigh 400 pounds. I forgot. This is a podcast. It's solid muscle. I'm huge.
So we were going back and forth here a little bit earlier about some guns that we were liking in movies we had just seen. And so I was like, you know what? Let's talk about them real quick. We were discussing Sin City, the original one, not the freaking crappy ones that came out afterwards.
I haven't seen those. Are they bad?
I'll probably get hell for them, but I didn't enjoy them as much as I did the first one.
Yeah, well, the first one's really good.
Just a lot of really awesome guns. Like, you have your stainless steel 1911s.
Yep.
That's one that Marv uses. We got talking about Marv.
Love Marv.
That was the biggest thing. Is that all you got, you pansies?
I love Mickey Rourke in general. I've always loved him in everything I've ever seen him in.
Well, and the funny part is I saw him in what the hell is that movie? Something in the Marlboro Man.
Yeah, that's Harley Davidson.
Yeah, I totally did not recognize him at all because I'd only seen him ever in the movies as Marv.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of stories on why he looks so screwed up between his hiatus from acting. But some of which involve.
You ever see that movie, that Star Trek movie where they stretch the guy's skin?
Yes.
It kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah.
Insurrection. That's what it was. It was F. Murray Abraham, I think. But yeah, anyway, awesome guns. My nerd just came out.
By the way, in that one, if we're going to be doing movie gun geekery, we've got to mention that in that movie, the actual Auto 9 from RoboCop shows up.
Yes, that was held by Rick Gomez, Clump. His partner is Ron Swanson from Parks and Recreation. The guy with the white beard. I can't remember his name.
Oh, is that him?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't even recognize him.
And Rick Gomez was from Band of Brothers. He played Luz. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Bruce Willis uses that with his Ruger Blackhawk. But the thing that got us talking about this was Powers Booth and how he had passed away and how he was like just a badass character using the Colt Defender.
Mm-hmm. I love Powers Booth. I miss him. I have not seen he played Philip Marlowe in I can't remember which one which movie it was, but there is a Powers Booth Philip Marlowe movie.
There's a Colt M1991A1. We had talked about that before.
Oh, I can't find it. It's not listed in IMFDB.
Colt Officers ACP M1991A1 Series 80.
What's this? In
Sin City.
Yep. Yeah, there's the night. Yep, that's the gun that was used in Heat.
And then, of course, Bruce Willis uses a Model 29 nickel-plated.
Mm-hmm.
And then Michael Madsen uses a Colt Python, which is awesome.
Yeah. Though I gotta say, Madsen, he just like I just every time he's talking in that movie, I'm like, dude, cough, just clear it up. His voice is like, he's got a gravelly voice. I get it, but it's like It's like the difference between Clint Eastwood and everything else he's done and $1 Million Baby. Like
I just love that Bruce Willis gets to use a Ruger Blackhawk. Like,
Mhm.
out of all the guns they could have picked for her to have, they pick a single action Blackhawk.
Oh, come on. It works so well
Awesome.
with the black and white. And
Yeah. Yeah, it's totally awesome. I'm totally fine with it. There's a few Tauruses, some Uzis, but awesome guns. But then we were talking about, so we got talking on Powers booth, and we were talking about sudden death.
Mhm.
And that was one you said you have seen or haven't seen.
I have not seen this one.
All right. So we get to give some crap to our friend Eric Chesney because sudden death takes place in Pittsburgh. How many movies have you had set in Pittsburgh, Eric?
I think that might be it, right?
That's probably it. I'm going to get so many angry emails from Pittsburgh residents. You know about our bridges?
They do have a lot of bridges and tunnels
and sandwich shops.
And sandwich shops. And the NRA convention.
We loved Pittsburgh. Let me tell you. Go watch our video of driving into Pittsburgh. We have some walking down the street footage at one point.
I'm glad we went there. Like I'm glad that Eric hosted us there, because if we had not stopped there, like I would have the exact same opinion of Pittsburgh as I had of Scranton.
Oh my God.
Is that well, the only place I'd ever been in Pittsburgh was I stayed at like the airport hotel when I went to the NRA convention there, and the Three Rivers Convention Center.
No, you and I drove
like
around
the
Pittsburgh.
most like bombed out ghetto part of Pittsburgh. Like it is disgusting, like out there.
We drove around Pittsburgh quite a bit trying to find the road to get the hell out of there.
Yeah, but the part that we went to was nice. Maybe a few too many hipsters.
Yeah, what was it? The sandwich shop was like Fatheads or something like that.
Yeah.
But no, we ended up going to meet Eric there. That was awesome. That was like the best part of the trip because we were trying to escape the 10 million dead deer on the side of the road going through Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Do you guys not know that after you hit a deer with your car, they're still delicious?
I asked Eric that. I said, dude, in Maine, like if you hit a deer and the neighbors hear you like around where you hit the deer, there'll be fights about who gets to take the deer home.
Yeah. He died on my yard. He destroyed my car.
Like, literally, the cops are called not for the car accident, but to making sure that no one fights each other because they're trying to claim the deer. I've seen people, I hit a deer with my Dodge Neon, strapped him to the trunk, took him home. We ate for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're driving through Pennsylvania. I'm like, why are there so many dead deer on the side of the road? But anyway, yeah, it was shot in Pittsburgh, all about NHL, capturing the vice president. A lot of awesome guns. Heckler & Koch P9S.
Yeah, I gotta imagine like I've seen like more of these in films than I have in real life. Like I have shot one, but overall they're kind of a rare gun in my like personal experience. But boy, like I mean that's like. But it was that and the Sig Sauer 226 where the police issue guns in RoboCop. Like there's 1,000,001 movies where this P9S is a gun carried in that.
And the last one we got talking about, and I don't even know how the hell we got talking about it, but Blood Work.
Oh, well, because we were talking about because you said sudden death, but you'd mistake it for sudden impact.
Yes,
so we got talking about Dirty Harry movies and
how this is the 7th Dirty Harry movie.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't care. Like, what's his character? Terry
McCaleb /
yeah, no. It is absolutely Harry Callahan. Because even an Irish name. Come on.
If Harry Callahan was like, all right, this Model 29 is getting a little old. I need to upgrade. What the hell is he going to go with but an 8-shot 357?
I mean, it's still an end frame. Like that's just a nod of his name is Terry McCaleb, not Harry Callahan. And no. That gun is not a Model 629. No, it's a 627 Performance Center.
He's an FBI profiler. They could have given him a SIG or a Glock, but no.
That's also, he's an FBI agent. He's not retired San Francisco PD. He just happens to be in San Francisco. No. It's Harry Callahan.
He's in LA.
Was it LA?
Yeah, it was all LA.
Oh, I thought that was San Francisco.
Because we were talking about, remember Los Angeles, the friggin' building behind him when he
Yeah.
decides to dump the double-aught buck out of the shotgun is the same building that was used as the diamond heist building from Reservoir Dogs. But yeah, no, he carries that. I mean, the only reason he carries a 357 and not a 44 is because they didn't make an 8-shot 44 end frame.
Oh man, was that a USP in the guy that got shot in the
the
that's what it was described as, a P7.
Yes.
I remembered it as a P7.
Hammerless USP, the compact version.
Wait, was it hammerless?
That's what it says. Look at the picture.
Yeah, it's got a hammer. That's a little
nubbin. It's got a little nubbin.
Yeah, but it's a hammer.
Where the regular one had a bigger hammer.
Yeah, but look at the safety. That's a double action, single action. It's got the decocker.
A lot of awesome guns. We won't spoil it for you, but
such a good movie. It's a really, really good movie.
It'll make Dumb and Dumber a little bit more exciting for you after you've seen the movie.
Oh, and we were also you were talking about Jeff Daniels is in this, and I was
don't spoil it.
He's in it. You're seeing in the first scene. You're ruining it for everybody. Now you're telling, oh, there's something about Jeff Daniels. Oh, God.
You're the one who kept going.
You're not invited to your own podcast anymore, Ryan.
I was being very subtle.
Yes, but Looper also has Jeff Daniels.
Watch Looper,
and it is really, really, really good. And they're all using Magnum Research BFRs. There's some good guns in that as well.
Doesn't one of the guys have a cool ass shotgun though?
Yeah, all the Loopers have, they call it a blunderbuss, and it's some sort of insanely like high impact, but like it's a Hollywood shotgun in the fact that it's good for like 15 feet and nothing past it.
Oh, okay. So weird. What's your drink segment for this week?
I am currently drinking a Corpse Reviver #1. For those who are longtime listeners, you will know that I'm a humongous fan of the Corpse Reviver #2. It's one of my favorite drinks. And I have a bottle of Applejack, which was the one missing component for this. So it's 2 ounces of brandy. It's a brandy cocktail. 2 ounces of brandy, 1 ounce of Applejack, and 1 ounce of sweet vermouth. And it is, I would say, like, I don't really get, it's a Corpse Reviver, so technically it's supposed to be a hangover remedy cocktail. Go on that. With the Corpse Reviver #2, you're only using 1 ounce of gin in it. It's a slightly lower proof, and it's got lots of citrus in it. So you could argue then maybe it's good for such practices. This one is really a Manhattan with the volume turned down. It's a much sweeter, softer Manhattan, but it's not a sweet drink in any way, shape, or form. It's good. It's good. It's not going to pale. It's pale as compared to the Corpse Reviver #2, but yeah, it's worth a shot if you have a glass of Applejack on you. I like the Jack Rose is by far my preferred Applejack cocktail.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
didn't a listener say something about like last week, I think, discussing how he couldn't find anybody who could make a Corpse Reviver?
Yes. Yeah. No, it was a Sazerac.
Sazerac. Sorry.
Yeah. But just an interesting thing. I'll have to dig it up. I'll throw it in the show notes. I found a video of a guy who was jacking hard apple cider in his freezer, and has all the stuff listed on that. And interesting, this guy's like talking about the fact that, you know, he's a little bit of an activist for legalizing hobby distilling, which I'm 110% behind. Like, why is it you can make beer, but I can't make whiskey or gin? But he was talking about how, all right, look, I'm jacking it, which is essentially it's freeze distilling. So that's, you allow the hard apple cider to freeze, and the alcohol content will not freeze. And then you pour off the alcohol and discard the water, the ice, and then keep doing that. until it no longer freezes, and then you've got something that's a high proof liquor. But unlike distilling, you no longer have the heads and tails of the distillation process. So you're going to have all of the methanol and fusel alcohols and all the stuff that you kind of get rid of when you're distilling using heat. And he said he had read in old colonial books from when Applejack was first discovered, because it's actually an American spirit entirely, was they actually had a term called apple palsy for the horrible hangover that you would get for getting drunk on Applejack.
Oh, gee.
Just because you're just going to be consuming so much methanol and there's a lot of sugar in it.
We should bring that term back. Not we, but like society.
Apple palsy?
Yeah.
A friend of mine was talking about, he had pulled out a bottle of his banana wine, which is really damn good. And my buddy's like, oh, got to refresh Weirdbeard's glass because he's getting the nanner shakes. And I've really been enjoying about the nanner shakes.
Excellent. So we'll have links in the show notes to all the stuff we just talked about. So with that, we'll head into the main topic. Wintertime handgunning or Frosty the Handgunner? So weird. It's cold up here. Is it cold where you are?
Yeah, like I think I think I missed that there was a season in between summer and winter.
Is there? Because it's pretty freaking cold up here.
Yeah, it's really chilly and it's blowing like crazy.
Yeah, yesterday we had a wintertime burn. My friend and I were out back. We got up real early, got the pool closed up, burned a bunch of wood that I had left over. I wanted to clear out of the garage before wintertime, all that. And you had to stand damn close to that fire to make sure you kept warm. And let me tell you, there are a lot of good coals on it. So,
yeah. No, yeah. When I went to the range this week, yeah, no, I broke out my gloves. That's what I was looking for. I thought I saved the tag for my gloves. I forget what brand they are. They're really, really nice. But yeah, I was shooting with my gloves on, and I was very, very pleased to say these gloves I bought them because they were nice and sheer, and I wanted something that wouldn't hang up in the trigger guards of my guns. And I was actually surprised. They even fit into the trigger guard of my 1911 and my revolvers and all that, which are guns that are not at all designed for shooting with gloves on.
So these questions all come from a friend of the show, Manuel. He is going somewhere soon that's going to be cold, and he's bringing a handgun with him. And he was asking me, cold weather defensive shooting and outdoor range shooting, how to deal with gloves and mitts when drawing from concealment, so on and so forth. What gloves are good for being out and shooting during winter in the cold states? My problem was I don't normally wear gloves, even when I'm outside.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently I run hot enough to not wear gloves.
Well,
I
that's
also
good.
Can't sleep with blankets on because I am a furnace, apparently.
Good to know.
So, well, yeah.
That's why I let you be the big spoon.
That's right, exactly. That's how we save money on the hotel room. So I don't wear gloves. I rarely. I mean, unless it's really super cold out and I'm touching like a shovel that hasn't been in my garage or something. I very rarely wear gloves. So you probably do more than I.
I do. I frequently wear gloves.
So I figured you would be better to speak on this than I would.
So there's two kinds of gloves I wear. Either very, very sheer gloves that are really kind of more my range gloves that I will wear. And
what are the mechanics gloves?
Yeah, the mechanic style gloves work wonderfully. These shooting gloves that I have that are awesome, like they're really held up well. I will have to if I can't figure out what they're called by the end of the show, we'll talk about them next week.
Okay.
But that, or as a general rule, my preference is actually slightly oversized, gloves that I'll frequently wear, because as much as like these gloves worked wonderfully. I did everything that I needed to do while while I was shooting, and including like putting in my ear protection and other stuff. So it wasn't a problem, but I always want to like take off the gloves whenever I'm doing something with my hands other than like very, very gross motor skills. I want to do it with my bare hands. So I like to wear gloves that are like a size, like a half size bigger than what I know, what would be like a snug fit. So that really all I got to do is just grab the middle finger and pull, and the whole glove comes off. And that's one of my plans for if something goes on. Grab that middle finger, let the glove drop off, and then I can initiate my draw. So that's up to you. Definitely the slightly larger gloves on a 1911, my finger's not going to go in there. On an HK, no problem, because those HKs, like you can put a lawn chair in the trigger guard.
I mean, is it weird though? Because I just kind of feel like, unless it's like Arctic temperatures, wearing a set of mechanics gloves is going to be more than enough for someone like me, at least. And it gets damn cold up here.
I hate to be the guy to tell you, but yes, Ryan, you are a strange person.
I mean, I'm sorry, but like I either keep my hands in my pockets, or if I need to be wearing gloves, those mechanics gloves, I can shovel my whole driveway and take care of my yard with those on, and I'm not cold at all.
Look, all our listeners know it. Your wife knows it. Your family knows it. I know it. You're the only one that does not realize. Yes, you're an odd duck.
Yes. Okay.
You're a strange, strange person. Don't worry.
This is why we ask you when it comes to gloves.
But yeah, those are my two philosophies. Is either a glove that is very, very sheer and snug on you, that'll work well, or a glove that is loose enough that you can just drop it off without much of an issue. And then, I mean, for most people out there, if you're carrying on the belt, which most people do, for me, since I carry in a shoulder holster, there's an extra consideration of I gotta wonder, am I going to, depending on how I go, most of the time I'll be wearing my gloves and my hat, but I'll have my coat partially unzipped so that I can just plant my hand on my chest, find the hole in the zipper, and then go right for the gun. But sometimes when it's just too darn cold, the coat gets zipped all the way up, and then I make kind of a conscious shift in my mind of okay, if something goes down, I'm going to, grab the hem of my coat and pull it up, and then the shoulder holster doesn't sit that high on. I've got it set so it runs high, but it's really, the butt of my gun is maybe, an inch, 2 inches off high above my waistband. So it's really not that hard to do a draw from underneath the shirt.
Why you got to wear so many clothes? John McClane only wore that coat that he stole from the air traffic controller and his like little button-up shirt with a shoulder holster. Like,
because they make me take my gun off when I get on a plane.
And fist with your toes. So the other thing Manuel asked about, the quick access thing you kind of covered. I mean, thick gloves, you're just going to have to pull the friggin' gloves off. There's no way you're going to be able to get with really, really thick gloves. Anything bigger than mechanics gloves like you get at Walmart or something.
Just make sure, like, if they're the gloves that you cinch them up at the wrists or anything like that, don't cinch them up. Get them so that all you got to do is literally I grab the middle finger of my, I just take my left hand, cross my hands over each other, grab the middle finger of my right hand and tug, and the glove comes right off. And it's a pretty practice motion because I'm not just doing it when I'm practicing my draw. Like, I'm literally doing it when I'm sticking my hand in my pants pocket to fish for my car keys. I'm, doing it when I'm, getting my credit card out. It's anytime I'm doing anything but, the most like rudimentary of things, I'm pulling my glove off because I want to feel it with my hand.
Man, well, unfortunately, you're going to have to ditch the mittens with the string through the sleeves.
The idiot mittens.
So rip off the gloves. Most guns, I mean, you're not going to be able to go find a real factory gun with a huge trigger guard. I mean, unless you want to go get, unless you live in an Arctic environment and you're
Well,
wearing gloves and you want to go get it modified. But I mean,
H&Ks are pretty good at it. Like the VP9, the
you need some of
USPs,
those
they've got
gloves.
there's some pretty monster things. Where have you gone? You are like far away, man.
The thing with the gloves, the thing is, like, number one, you're gonna have like the material get pinched up under the trigger when you're trying to reset it.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to definitely worry about getting your finger caught underneath the trigger bow.
Because they got that little, most of the new polymer guns have the underside of the trigger guard, the upper side of it has that little hump as the trigger reaches its full forward position.
That's
And
just
a
to
lot of time the
keep
material
fabric from being bunched.
right. A lot of the time the material will get caught right underneath that. So I mean, you got to make considerations there. But he also asked about carry positions. Me personally, I usually just continue to carry in the pocket. That's just my preferred position. Um, if it's if I'm carrying a full size pistol, it's usually outside the waistband just because I'm wearing a heavy coat. He asked about chest rigs though, because he's going to be out doing a lot of photography, a lot of hiking, going out in the wilderness. Um, have you ever used the chest rigs? Weird.
I've never used the chest rig. No, I mean, we got a shoulder holster that's pretty close, but
I
yeah.
I've used a chest rig with a I carried my neighbor way back in the day and let me borrow his 38 revolver, and he just happened to give me a chest rig holster with it, and it was convenient.
So how did you carry that?
It was, what do you mean? How did I carry it?
Well, did you have concealment over it, or were you open carrying, or?
I was open. I was just out in the wilderness, like hiking,
Yep.
riding ATVs around out in the woods and stuff. I mean, I really didn't care if anybody saw it.
Oh yeah, and it's Maine.
Right, it's Maine. Yeah,
nobody
cares. Kmart with it like that, and no one would really care, to be honest.
I mean, there's lots of people in Maine back before Maine got constitutional carry that were just like, oh yeah, no, I'm only going to open carry because I'm not going to ask the government permission to carry my gun, and you could open carry without a permit.
Right, and anywhere north of Topsom, no one cares.
Yeah, really, any place north of Falmouth.
Yeah, well, Falmouth Foreside, bub.
Falmouth Foreside, or west of Westbrook.
Yeah. So I mean, I did like, actually chest carry was comfortable. I mean,
I got to imagine
it slings over there. I mean, as long as you, like, I had a coat on and it was just sitting there, you know, just by like where your shirt pocket would be. And if you needed it, you just pulled the strap off and pulled out the revolver.
Sure, because it's in a bit of a weird place. Just make sure you're not obscuring it with something. Like,
right.
As for my shoulder carry, like I had to make sure suddenly when I'm, was commuting into Boston for work, I had a backpack that had, my lunch and, various sundry items in the back of it. And I'm like, oh man, I'm, carrying in a shoulder holster. And now I've got two backpack straps over my shoulders. Is this going to interfere with my draw? And it didn't at all. Like no problem whatsoever. But it was one of those like, oh man, is this a problem? Or honestly speaking, just like me with my my phone in my pocket listening to podcasts, I've always got to be aware of, make sure that there's not a whole lot of slack in the line, because I don't want to foul the draw by catching my my headphone line.
So what's your opinion on people that get concerned? This isn't what Manuel asked, but people that get concerned about ballistic performance with their chosen defensive round, depending upon thickness of other people's garments. So like, okay, it's wintertime. People are going to bundle up. Will that affect my hollow point bullet? Will it prevent it from expanding, etc.?
I remember an old interview with Masada Ayub where he mentioned that because it was wintertime at the time, and this interview was probably in the New Hampshire area, because it was wintertime, he had switched over from a 9mm gun to a 6 Sauer 220 and 45 because he wanted that larger, heavier bullet to go through like winter clothing. But that video was in like the 90s, the early 90s at the latest. He had a great big beautiful mustache a la Tom Selleck, and I mean, hollow points were not the same as they are today. And I just, when you're looking at ballistic stuff, I haven't seen too many rounds that absolutely blow the doors off the ballistics gel, at least conventional rounds. There's always the weird ones, or these are, maybe this is an inexpensive, solution to concealed carry. But I haven't seen any rounds that expand well and perform well in bare ballistics gel. But the moment you put denim in there, they're just awful. The performance might diminish or change a little bit, but overall, they do just fine. But I guess I'm the wrong guy to ask, because my carry guns are in either, if I'm not carrying a 45, I'm carrying a 357. So, and a 357 with a snub nosed. So I don't really care about what the bullet does, because the person's going to be on fire.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly, I think you should just stick with what you have. There are some people who say, well, I switched to FMJ during the wintertime. I'm like,
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I wouldn't switch to FMJ. Like, if you are carrying a 25 or a 32 or possibly a 380, yes,
that's the only time I'm ever like, well, FMJ may be better if you're carrying a 32 or a 25.
Yeah. Or, well, the other one is, all my FAL magazines are loaded up with Full Metal Jacket, and that is intentional, because the only time I'm going to reach for that gun in a defensive situation is when there's rioters with Molotov cocktails coming down my street. And in that case, not only do I want to shoot the guy, but I also want to shoot the guy behind him.
Yeah, and even FMJ out of a 308 is going to cause a lot of damage.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not concerned at all about the deadly impact of a 147 grain Full Metal Jacket. No, that's not a concern at all. No.
You don't need Hornady tap rounds to make an impression.
The round doesn't need to expand; it's going to go sideways.
Yeah. No, it's so wintertime. I would just stick with. I mean, like I said, unless you're carrying a 25 or a 32, with those guns, you're just looking at penetration. I mean, you're not going to get.
And even if there is issues with, the performance of the round due to the heavy winter close, you shoot the exact same way. You shoot until the threat stops. Like, if you end up pulling your gun and then going in that step further to pulling the trigger, obviously there's a threat going on, and you're going to pull the trigger again, and you're going to pull the trigger again. Actually, did you see that video of the Las Vegas PD that came out I think it was just this week?
No, I haven't.
With it was a DUI stop. I think it was the video starts at the officer interviewing the guy he's leaning on the hood of a truck with the whole front end all staved in, as we say in Maine. And the guy's like, will you submit to it? Will you take a field sobriety test? No, I won't. And he goes, all right, will you take a breathalyzer? He goes, no, I don't need to do that. He goes, no, you're right. You don't need to do that. You're drunk, and you're coming with me. So put your hands behind your back. And the guy finally just says no. And what appears to be just starts wandering off into the desert. But in fact, he walks over to a little patch of sagebrush where he had stashed a gun, pulls the gun, and starts shooting at the cops. And there's an interesting thing on a similar idea of of talking about shooting with the gloves on. This guy's partner is talking with the other woman, and he's got a notebook and a pen in his hand. And when the guy pulls the gun and he realizes things have gone from, we're doing an accident report, to, oh no, we're in a deadly force situation, he draws his gun, and he still has the pen in his hand and is shooting at the guy. And you also get a quick glimpse of his offhand. He's still got the notepad that he was writing the notes on. And that was, there was was it John Correa? I forget the name of the guy that does ASP personal protection, but he does after action reports on these things. And he points out the fact that one of the things you have to do is always be mindful of the things in your hand. And that's like one thing I do. Like, when I'm walking into my grocery store. Uh, Thankfully, my part of Massachusetts, much like my southern Maine, has banned plastic grocery bags. So you must bring your reusable bags
We're
into the
fighting that
grocery
on the
store.
ballot this November.
Yeah, so I'm walking. Oh yeah, your town got it too, right?
No, our town has not gotten it. We have a vote
Okay,
on November 6th.
okay, yeah. You vote against it. It's dumb.
Of course I am.
Yeah, well,
And
I'm
guess
just
what? If
telling
it passes, I have
everybody.
10 million plastic bags I'm going to sell in the black market for a lot of money. So
Don't sell them. I use them.
I will use them, but I mean, I'm going to make a tatty profit.
But I'm walking when I walk from my car into the grocery store, I've got my arms filled with bags. And then there'll be times when I'll be walking out of a store with, a bag in my hand full of groceries or something. What if somebody tries to mug me then? What if something what if something goes down on that? One of the first steps with the draw is that you've got to open your hands and just let everything fall out of your hands.
Drop everything.
That's right. Drop it. Yeah, drop it like it's hot. Just let it go.
Except
let it fall to the
drop
ground.
everything except the gun.
Yes. Well, you're going to drop everything and then go for the gun.
Yes.
And all that. So yeah, it's something you've always just got to be mindful of, and you've got to have it there so that when it goes through, you're ready to just drop everything. He even mentioned like a possibility. I haven't really thought about it of put some stuff in your hands at the range before you do your draw and practice just dumping crap, have a pen and a soda in both your hands and drop them both and then pull the gun.
It's an instilled reaction though. We don't want to drop things, and when we do drop them, we tend to trying to go for them and catch them, even though we know.
When you think about it, I drove to the grocery store, went into the grocery store, picked up these things, paid money for them, and now I'm bringing them back to my car. The last thing you're going to do with something like that, like in that mindset, no, I'm not going to drop my groceries on the ground. They might break. I came all the way here for this stuff. Like that's the reason why I'm here.
While you're getting shanked.
Yeah. But when it comes to, I can always buy another dozen eggs because these are all splattered on the sidewalk. I cannot buy another brain when that's splattered on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
But yeah, go check out that video of the Las Vegas PD. It's on that. It's on the same YouTube channel. The police badge cam YouTube channel that you got me hooked on that with also with Las Vegas PD, the guy shooting through the windshield.
Oh,
that was insane.
So before we wrap up,
one more. I never finished what I was trying to say with that though. Excuse me.
Excuse you.
But the whole point was, the officer that was trying to arrest the guy, as soon as he saw him, like he did everything right. As soon as he saw that, oh no, this guy's fishing a gun out of the bush, he immediately took off running and got behind the engine block of the car, got his gun out, came up, and then essentially did just a beautiful double tank. Like you can actually see both the impacts. Like they were like 2 inches apart. It was I don't want to say it's beautiful because dude lost his life, and yeah, he's a
dude
jerk.
Chose to do that kind of crap. That's how I feel about it.
He's a jerk and all that, but I'm still not going to celebrate, him having.
It's unfortunate. We had a Bangor police officer up here had to shoot somebody recently, and I messaged somebody I knew on the force, and I said, hey man, I hope everything's good. I hope everything's all right. I understand it's just a crap situation, and it's a traumatic situation, no matter how justified it may have been. It's going to be traumatic for the guy. And the guy didn't die. He didn't, it was just like a wounding type of thing. But still, I mean, that's traumatic. You got to, putting rounds on another human being is not something we're trained to do, or not something we're trained to deal with, rather.
Hey, Ryan, you got to check your mic contact. It's faded.
How's that? Way out. How did that? Is better?
Yes.
Where did I finish off?
I think it's all going to come through. You'll be able to fix it with a levelizer. You did it again. There you go.
It's a hard situation.
Yeah.
And whether or not the person is killed or wounded or anything like that,
Yeah.
It's going to be hard.
But either way, he put it what but it wasn't a double tap that he put into the guy. Is he shot the guy once and then brought the gun back onto target, and the guy essentially was dead on his feet when, now that you know it, but he was still standing, he still had the gun in his hand, and so he put another round into the guy, and at that point in time he started crumpling to the ground and he did not shoot anymore. And that was what I was getting to with the, it really doesn't matter if this was done in the Nevada desert. The dude was wearing, jeans and a t-shirt. So it wasn't like his clothing was doing much to impede the round's performance. You shoot until the threat stops. If the guy's wearing a thick parka and it happens to be plugging up your hollow points and they're not absolutely decimating him with hydrostatic shock and all of that, business, shoot him again. Just that's what you need to always be remembered to do, is keep an eye on your target. You are watching the threat and you are just shooting until the threat is over.
And a lot of times the ballistic performance of a round is not determined solely by the clothing the person is wearing. Sometimes it's the barrel length. Like we've talked about. I mean, why did Speer make a specific round that was designed for use in short barrel revolvers?
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't always build up enough speed to properly facilitate expansion.
Oh yeah, the guy Andrew from GY6 Vids did. He shot out of an LCR, Hornaday lever revolution, however you pronounce that round, but the 357 lever revolution rounds through it, and it did jack crap to the gel. This is Hornaday. This is not bad ammo. They don't make bad ammo. But guess what? You take an ammo that is designed for a lever action rifle and shoot it out of a snub nose revolver, don't expect the same performance.
I mean, at that point, you may be better off using like a lead.
Yeah.
So the other thing, someone asked about this, and before we wrap up, I just wanted to ask, you're a little bit more of a scientist than I am.
I'm a lot more of a scientist than you are.
How does cold affect rounds and firearm performance? It'd have to be significant.
So if we're talking about a carry gun, probably not that much. I have had guns go from reliable to finicky in very, very cold weather, but that was literally a gun where you're setting it out on the bench and you're shooting, and then you're picking up the gun, and now all of a sudden we're getting stovepipe. And I think that was the oil that the gun was using was gelling.
WD-40, do not. God's sake.
I can't hear you at all, Ryan.
Hello, there you go.
Okay.
For God's sake, please do not use WD-40 on your guns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that stuff that gels up really good. Turns to wax.
Every gun that I've ever seen that has used WD-40, or the person has used WD-40, gelled up, especially in cold weather.
Yep. I would say, get yourself some. I use the specifically branded pistol grease, but I've heard that there's grease that you can get. One of the greases, I don't know if it's the lithium grease, or do you know, Ryan, off the top of your head what the
lithium grease works pretty good.
Yeah, but grease is a really, really good choice, and actually all of my defensive guns, I actually put a little bit of grease on the rails just for that reason.
Too much.
What?
Don't use too much.
No. Literally, I apply it with a toothpick. I take a toothpick and I apply just a dot, like literally like a square millimeter on the back of each frame rails, and then one on the barrel hood and one on the muzzle end of the gun, and then I rub those in, and then put the slide back on the frame, rack it a few times, and then take a cloth, and there should be a little bit of leftover grease at the back of the rails, and wipe that off. It does not take much, but it makes a huge difference.
It'll find its way to where it needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the only thing I've ever run into, people using way too much of the wrong lubricant on their firearm.
Though again, I gotta say, if you are walking around with the gun, even in an outside the waistband thing, but you've got a coat on over it. It's gonna, I mean, I remember when I first started carrying how weird it felt when I pulled the gun out of my holster at the end of the day to put it away. How how weird it felt to pick up a warm gun, because almost always, because guns are made out of metal, and that's got such a high heat capacitance that you would just grab your steel gun that's sitting in the safe, and it's chilly to the touch even on a summer day, unless it's been like sitting out in the sun, and then suddenly have the gun being in your holster. It's been warmed by your body heat all day. So it's going to be pretty close to 98.6 degrees, probably not quite that warm, but it's going to be relatively warm. So I really don't think for a carry gun, unless you're like open carrying in terrible weather, and then I would actually be more concerned about stuff like ice building up on the gun and things like that.
Yeah, it's a heat sink.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll have to ask our Minnesota friends about open carrying. I'm sure Mark could give us some insight on that.
I can't hear you at all, Ryan.
I'm sure that Mark could give us some insight on that. I don't know what's going on with our mics here.
Spin your connection wherever it's plugged in. Like, give it a little spin. It sounds like it's a bad contact because
how's that?
I'm hearing nothing, and then there's like pop, 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 because it's trying to get connection. You sound good now.
All right. Well, with that better connection, we'll wrap up here and head into the wrap up section. Don't forget to shop Brownells using our affiliate link. Head to firearmsradio.tv and click the affiliate link in the upper right hand corner. Be sure to go like Handgun Radio on Facebook and share it with your friends, and leave us a review on iTunes. Listen to all the great shows on the Firearms Radio Network, and be sure to visit the Firearms Insider for reviews and more awesome content. And be sure to check out the Firearms Radio Network on YouTube. And Weird, thank you as always. And where can people find you?
You can find me at my blog. That's weirdworld.com. And I also am the host of the Assorted Calibers podcast.
And there are links there in the show notes. Anything going on over there? Like big things happening?
I actually just got an email just a few minutes ago from a guy that won a knife from our Patreon group. And for the Patreons, we'll be releasing very shortly our film tracks for Nosferatu, because Halloween is coming up. We put a film track on a silent movie, and it turned out really good.
Well, there we go. We'll have links to that in the show notes. And if you're in the Handgun Radio Facebook group, Weird shares things as well. So be sure to go check that out. So as always, thank you very much, Weird, for coming on the show.
Oh, I love being on the show, man. It's good times.
And until next week, have fun and safe shooting.